By now, I'm sure that every one of you has heard all about the Broadway show Hamilton. I'm looking at my younger son, Abraham, who demanded at some point during the High Holy Days to mention Hamilton. Here it is. It swept the nation over the past few years. We actually did take our boys to see it recently, a last hurrah in Chicago over the summer, and it was just as mesmerizing as advertised. Wonderful cast, dynamic music, I could go on and on. Most of the conversation has been about the incredible energy of this show, combining modern hip-hop with our American Revolutionary story. But one thing easily can get missed in all the hoopla, that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote a play that is deeply impactful on an emotional level. Hamilton is not really a show about the revolution. It's not really a show about the way Alexander Hamilton helped create our great nation. It is a rich and deeply meaningful and personal story about one man's struggle to succeed in life and how that struggle impacts those closest to him. A little more than a year ago, Rachel Ann and I received some devastating news from good friends who live in Los Angeles. Their family of 5 was out for a summer weekend boating on Lake Arrowhead, as they have done many times, when their almost 5-year-old son tragically fell from the boat and drowned. He was a happy, boisterous child with an affinity for glitter and bright colors. For so many friends with their own young families, this was not only a horrible tragedy, but a painful reminder that terrible things sometimes do happen in our world. There was no reason, no silver lining, no explanation, just a family and their community suddenly needing to find some way to cope, and the rest of us crying from afar. One of the most heart-wrenching moments in Hamilton is when Alexander and his wife lost their own son in a tragic way. The grief on stage is palpable and takes the audience uncomfortably to our own sorrowing memories. In perhaps the show's most passionate song, Miranda reaches into our hearts as his characters sing. There are moments that the words don't reach. There is suffering too terrible to name. You hold your child as tight as you can and push away the unimaginable. There are moments that the words won't reach. There is a grace too powerful to name. We push away what we can never understand. We push away the unimaginable. Each of us is here today for the same reason. And each of us is here today under different circumstances. Some of us are remembering loved ones who are blessed to reach old age. Some remember those who fought illness or injury in the prime of life. And some of us painfully are here remembering more tragic circumstances. Every loss is unique. Every loss brings about emotion and our own suffering in different ways. A parent, a spouse, a child, a close relative, a good friend. Life is a patchwork of moments spent and memories made with the people who journey with us. Even if we personally are not dealing with a tragedy like our friends in California or like that in Hamilton, those situations, I believe, can help each of us understand our own difficult circumstances. In describing the journey that one particular family is going through, I take it for granted that grief transcends any specific memory, and that grief descends upon each of us in our own personal ways. Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, is not Jewish. He is an incredible purveyor of human experience and has provided us with an important reflection on how some people handle loss. But our Jewish tradition also offers deep insights into the human condition, and specifically the process we go through when we lose someone. To the Jewish mind, grief is not unimaginable. In fact, our tradition asks us to face the intense emotions of grief directly. Grief comes to every one of us. The only questions are when and how will we deal with it? So we do not typically say things like, "He passed away," or "She has departed." We say, "My mom died." It is a stark statement of values, a reminder to us that while death is sad, heartbreaking, sometimes tragic, it is also part of life. It is something we can prepare for, and it is something we can endure with the support of our friends and our family, and with the help of a tradition that provides us with a framework for dealing with those moments that truly are not unimaginable. From each step in funeral preparations, to the depths of sitting Shiva, to the surreal transition of our 30-day Shloshim, to 11 months of reciting Kaddish, to Yortzeit every year, there is a path. There is a path. It may be a difficult one. The steps may not be easy, but they are waiting for us, wrapping us in a cocoon of God's love, so that if nothing else, we understand that we are not walking along this path alone. My friend in Los Angeles said at one point that there is no vacation from grief. Her life continued. It had to. Her other children needed her to make sure they were not overcome by their shared loss, to help them make sure that their lives would continue to be as magical and as loving as they deserved to be. But the grief was always present. We all do what we have to do. We walk, we work, we dance and laugh for the sake of certain people and for the sake of comfortable situations. We find a way to contain our grief, except for these occasions when we are not supposed to contain it, when we are not supposed to hold back, when we are not only allowed but encouraged to rage and cry and shudder, to live within the grief that might consume us if we didn't walk the path back toward life. Yizkor is a gift. Our Jewish heritage understands that we can take comfort in sitting here a few times each year, surrounded by others who have also experienced loss, others who have lived with it for a short time or for a long while, those who don't need words to simply look us in the eye and recognize that we are in the same sorrowing place. A place where grief does not go away. A place with difficult days when it is more intense, and a place with good days when it almost feels as if it isn't part of our lives anymore, but a place where it is never quite gone. And perhaps that is ultimately what is unimaginable. Not the loss itself, but the realization that it will forever be part of us, that we cannot close our eyes, but must adapt to the world, a world without those most precious to us. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if we see it on a stage, hear it from friends, or endure loss in our own families. We are here, each of us, seeking reassurance. We are here, each of us, seeking comfort. We are here, each of us, seeking answers. We are here, each of us, seeking connection. And we are here for each other. At this first Yizkor of 5,778, may all of our loved ones be remembered for a blessing, and may we each find what we have come here for, a sense of well-being in the peace that endures among us and will continue to endure among all Israel. Please join me in saying, Amen.